I actually want to ask a question, and we'll start off with you, XO, first. When you're doing, like you said, your build that you're doing is extreme because of the size and the weight, and I've seen some of your videos, like the detail that you're going to actually know how much weight you're taking out of the vehicle to make sure the weight you're putting back in will ride on the chassis or the frame you got. I've watched enough to know that you're really tuned into this. If you had to pick one thing to start with, if someone's going to do an extreme build and you could pick the first thing or the most important thing to start with, what is it to you? Is it the vehicle you choose? Is it the deadening? Is it the building of the cage? Is it the structure? What do you think is the path or the starting point for an extreme SPL or extreme build of this nature that you're doing?
Can it be a relatively offbeat kind of answer?
Sure.
Yeah, well, I guess it would be to realize that you're about to devote. It's almost, you have to change your way of living for a little while. Depending if you have bankroll, maybe you could just do this in a year's time, spending all the money. But for a person like me who's had to slowly work his way up, I would say the most important part to do something like this on this caliber is to realize there's going to be some sacrifice. And both with design and with finances and with time and with, there's sacrifices everywhere, with size and everything. There's sacrifices everywhere. So be prepared to make sacrifices.
That has got to be probably, I didn't expect you to go that path, but that's probably the best piece of advice for anyone who's dedicating their time and effort into whatever they enjoy, appreciate in their life. And what you've just said there can apply to just about anything that someone's, enjoying as a hobby or taking it to an extreme level. Man, that's deep. Steve?
Same question.
Yes. I mean, I don't know if you can top that answer because that's a great answer, but I'm not trying to go that route. But I mean, obviously those are things you think of too, but what do you?
Well, my path is a little different. The Explorer started as my toy. It's not my daily. And it's just evolved. Like, there's been so many versions. So to start with something from scratch and to build something like we're building, like you were saying, the bankroll would be pretty crazy.
Right.
But mine is, I've bought and sold equipment through every version and have kind of been able to upgrade and be able to do things almost on the same cost as the first original build.
Sure.
I've been fortunate enough to make friends with people in the industry that have given me good deals on a lot of equipment, which has helped me parlay that into better equipment and so on and so forth. So if you're going to get into building an extreme demo vehicle, I think the most important part is buying a vehicle that's going to have the space that you're looking for. And then on top, the second most important thing would be rigidity. Like, what we're doing is creating pressure.
Correct.
Okay? And if you want pressure to exit into the cabin, you make it so that the enclosure section is so rigid that the pressure has nowhere else to go.
But the cabin.
But the cabin. And then if you make the cabin so rigid that it has nowhere else to go besides out the doors, and then you seal the thing up, that's where you get these crazy SPL numbers. So the name of the game is rigidity and strength. The stronger and more rigid your build is, the easier it is to direct the pressure where you want.
And that's really, I'm sure XO would agree with you guys, and all this work that you're putting into the rear enclosure area of every one of these vehicles, no matter what it is, with all of the steel, with all the plywood, with everything you're doing, what you're trying to do is to create a shell that will focus and keep all that energy and direct it one direction, and that's toward the windshield.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, you go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, any energy that you lose back there it's lost.
Sure.
So like I said, you're trying to convert all that energy. You're spending all this time and money, and you're producing all this power. So you might as well go the whole nine and get it to do what you want it to, because you can. I mean, you can control what these cars are doing. It's just these things that we build now with all this power, they're very strong. So you got to contain them in these extreme demo vehicles.
Yeah, we were doing some. Go ahead and answer what you're going to say, XO. I want you to go to there first.
Oh, I was just going to add to it where it's almost a double-edged sword. The more that you add to the strength of your enclosure, you end up chasing demons. So you'll end up transferring all that flex into another area. You fix that area. All that is transferred into your dash. You fix that. And you end up chasing these little areas, and until you finally dial it in on what you need. But it's not an overnight thing. especially if you plan on going through the whole build. It's really a process of finding out what needs to be done as you go.
So in another way to put it, what you guys are both saying is, in the end result, you start with what makes sense, and what you end up doing is you fix a link, and then you end up chasing the next weakest link.
Pretty
Well,
much.
yeah, some parts I won't use deadener at all. Like other areas, like or I might not use some here. I might add some here. I might take it off. It depends on how it reacts. I test a lot and then see how it reacts.